Today, we're coming to you from bright and sunny Florida, even though we're inside. I tried to get outside for you guys, but it's a little too windy here, so you weren't gonna be able to hear a word that I said. And we've got some important stuff to share in this video, so let's get into it. In this video, we're going to talk about why people are leaving Florida. Why would you move to where you vacation and then want to leave? Or if you're from Florida, why would you want to leave where people vacation? We're gonna cover all things, reasons why people want to leave Florida and where are they going? How does that relate to us? And you named it. A lot of people end up relocating to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. My name is Brandy. If this is your first time on our channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. I am a local realtor, all things Charlotte. So if you've come to the right place, if you're looking to learn a little bit more about the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and if you and your family are thinking about making a move, be sure to reach out, give us a call, send us a text message, whether you're thinking in 9 days or 90 days, we'd love to connect and help make your move just a little bit easier. So let's get into it. Florida, over the past 4 years, Florida has experienced a huge growth. According to my research, over 1,200 people a day relocate to Florida. Now, Florida's a big state, so I don't know like geographically where all those people are landing, but I can tell you a lot of them are going to Tampa, a lot of them are going down to Southwest Florida, a lot of them are coming over here to Fort Lauderdale. So no matter how you look at it, that's a really big number. I compare it to other states, but I know compared to North Carolina, where there's only a few hundred people moving a day, 1,200 is huge. But what happens when they get here? Well, Florida might not be what you expect. When you come down here to vacation, that's it. You're vacationing, you're getting a hotel right on the beach. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the beach right now and it's stunning. When I lived here, I lived 30 minutes away from any beach, and to get to any given beach, it was over an hour drive during season because so many people were down here doing the same exact thing. So when you're in areas like Naples or Fort Lauderdale, the beach access is kind of limited. You're either, a lot of the beaches are behind like McMansions or straight up mansions down on like Naples Beach, or behind hotels. Or if you're gonna go to a public beach, like parking is a nightmare and getting there is a nightmare. It's just a whole day thing. So it's not like as come and go as you would expect. It's not as a laid back experience, what you might think living on the beach is. There's that. When you live in Florida, you still don't go to the beach as often as you might think that you will. It is nice to be able to have it by. You can go get some waterfront dining. Sometimes it's not as common as you would think either in certain areas. But you just don't go to the beach as much as you think. So vacationing and living in Florida are very different things. And I kind of feel like they get mushed together a little bit. Now, if you take two pretty comparable cities, such as let's say Tampa and Charlotte, they're pretty comparable, both a ton of job opportunities, growth is happening. Average age group right now is in the mid 30s. So really attracting young professionals. The average home price in Tampa is about $460. The average home price in Charlotte is up in about $475. So pretty comparable, but that's really kind of it. So one of the differences in Florida is you've got multiple larger cities. You've got Fort Lauderdale, you've got Orlando, you've got Tampa, you've got Miami, you've got Jacksonville. You've got a lot more options in Florida than you would in North Carolina. So if you're relocating in the North Carolina area, you really only have two main cities. You've got Charlotte and Raleigh. Now there are smaller towns in between there, but if you're looking for bigger cities, I should say, those are really your two options. In between there, you've got small towns, but North Carolina is still pretty rural feel to it, where Florida has a little bit more going on in between the areas, I will say. So there's more big city options for you in Florida if you are a young professional kind of looking for a place to get established and start your career, where North Carolina is only going to offer you those two. Some of the other differences are the economies are really different. So there's different taxes, there's different incomes, obviously, and that could be a whole nother video on that. Cost of living depending where you live. Like my husband and I were going for a walk the other day, and just when you think you know real estate, I'll tell you what, you really don't. We were walking and we saw this gorgeous new home here on the intercoastal. It was on a channel. It wasn't even on like the wide open beach view. 4,000 square feet. And I'm like, oh, that's probably like $8 million, thinking like that was being generous, right? No, 19 million. 19, what? 19 million for a channel view? I'm looking into somebody else's house? I don't think so. Anyways, I digress. Florida has a lot more of the expensive areas. So if you're thinking you want to live in one of those like beach destinations, get ready. It's expensive. St. Pete, Clearwater, Naples, Boca, Fort Lauderdale, Destin, even like up in the Panhandle, all of those areas where you hear about and you love, they're really expensive to live in. So the average home price is way higher. I know the averages they're gonna be in about the 500s, but like for 300,000, you're gonna be in a condo. If you have a family of 4 and you're looking for a single family home with a yard, you're gonna be way above that average price point. So there are vast differences based on where you want to live. So that's one part of the economy. Another part is What's driving it? Charlotte is a major business hub. We've got healthcare hubs, we've got aviation hubs. We're obviously a huge banking hub, financial hub, tech hub, huge area for entrepreneurs. So the opportunity is there, where Florida is very much so hospitality driven and tourist driven. It's kind of a different world over there. Another big difference that even I myself notice, and I myself I hate Florida for this reason. I love Florida still, but like one of the things I hate about it is Florida is known as like the strip mall, like land of strip malls. It's kind of like a concrete jungle. Strip malls, you've got your big anchor stores like a Publix or Burlington or Marshall's, and then you're gonna have your pet supermarket or your Targets or Kohl's. Like it's all big commercial buildings. It's all these large chain companies, Outback Steakhouse, Red Lobster, Olive Garden. Like those are the things that you're gonna see most when you're here in Florida. You miss that local feel. So a lot of people from up north that are used to going down to their local deli and getting a sandwich, or their local coffee shop, or Charlotte has a good mixture. So Charlotte still has the suburbs around it, right? You go to Still Creek, you've got a lot of those large larger commercial stores, Target, Kohl's, Ross, Marshalls, all of that. But you also still have your local breweries and your local restaurants and sports pubs. And if you aren't finding it right there, you can hop right down the road to Take a K, or hop to downtown Fort Mill, or go into South End Charlotte. And there's a ton of options. A lot of people want that local feel to it, and Florida just doesn't offer that. You might find a couple things here and there. I'll be honest with you. I know when we have visited Florida over the past few years, I've looked for a couple of my local favorite spots that I used to go to, and they've closed. Where if you're in Charlotte, while Charlotte doesn't necessarily have like the local feeling, like maybe, or like the boroughs kind of like Chicago has, or Boston might have, or New York, we do have smaller neighborhoods like Belmont, Fort Mill, Rock Hill, Kannapolis, Concord, that they all have their little downtown streets with their favorite coffee shops and favorite restaurants. So it does give you that local feel to it that a lot of Northerners especially really, really miss. So one big difference is Florida just doesn't have that feel to it. You're going to get a lot of the big box stores here. So that's one of the biggest things that I dislike about it, and that I can really appreciate about other states. So there's a huge misconception about it. Now, let's get a little bit more down into living in Florida. What does that look like? Well, we talked about the average home price, and yeah, you can find a $500,000 house. Is it going to fit your family's needs? We don't know yet. Florida is big, grand HOA communities, gated communities, master plan communities. That is primarily what makes up Florida. I don't know why this is the way it is. I don't know if developers just have this great, big, grand plan. I have no idea, but that was really different for me when I moved away from Florida. I didn't expect to see neighborhoods. They're not even subdivisions. It's just like straight up neighborhoods off of main roads, houses on main roads. But the more states I've traveled to, my husband and I have lived in 2 different states outside of Florida, and it was all the same. It was kind of the same thing. Like Florida is, I'm almost imagining California would probably be the same. I don't really know why, but I think California would look like that. But Florida is master plan communities, subdivisions, gated subdivisions, big clubhouses and pools. While Charlotte does have those. We only have a handful of those master plan communities. You've got Highland Creek, which is the oldest one. Their houses are built in the 80s and 90s. Huge, beautiful master plan community. You've got the Palisades, you've got kind of like Still Creek area. So they do exist. They're not gated. They are not gated. If you have a gated home in Charlotte, it is a very wealthy area. Rule of thumb. That was something different. With gated communities, with master plan communities comes HOAs, and this is the kicker. So you tend to have less yard space. You tend to get that cookie cutter feel a little bit more, but you also have HOAs. So I work with a lot of people relocating from New York, New Jersey, Texas even, and they're not used to HOAs. Florida, I don't think you can avoid them. I think almost every neighborhood in Florida has an HOA in it of some sort. And a lot of people don't like that. They want home ownership and they want freedom to do what they want when they want with their home. And HOAs are a love-hate relationship for a lot of people. I love that an HOA tells my neighbor they can't park a boat in their front yard or a semi-truck in their front yard. But I hate that an HOA tells me what color I can and can't paint my house, So give and take, but that's something that a lot of people have to adjust to when living in Florida. And it's a huge difference. It also goes towards your monthly expenses. If you're living on a fixed income, which most people, the growing population in Florida, the average age is still above 65. Going to cities like Tampa, again, you're into that young professional age group. If you look at the state as a whole, the average age is above 65. So if you're living on a fixed income, that couple $100 a month bill on your HOA might make a big difference to you. So that's really something to consider. Now, when I say that moving to Charlotte neighborhoods do have HOAs. I want to put that out there. It's also kind of hard to avoid finding an HOA in Charlotte. However, they're much lower. If you're getting into a couple $100 a month HOA, you are in one of those larger communities, new home communities. You're going to have a pool, a clubhouse. Some of them might have lake access. In general, your HOA is going to be below $100 a month, and it's really going to be like they take care of the community sign and they tell you what kind of fence you can and can't have. So they're not bad. It's a good in between if you don't want to kind of go all the way up north where they don't have as many, but you don't want to be stuck in the regulations that Florida might offer. Another reason why people move is because of the weather. Now, yeah, that's one of the main reasons why people move to Florida is because they want to get out of the cold, right? We know that. But I don't think people not in Florida, I don't even think Floridians are aware so something we've heard recently is called the hurricane fatigue. And it's real. I know when I lived in Tampa, I personally didn't get affected largely by any of the hurricanes that came through, but it was yearly. We had at least 4 hurricanes come through that made us lose power for a couple days, close school down for a couple days. And in the past couple years, we all know Florida has gotten wrecked with hurricanes. So much so that insurance companies are pulling out of Florida. When we say weather, it's like, yes, it's mid-February right now and I'm looking outside and it's 75 degrees and I can't wait to get outside. And that is incredible. That's vacation. Now, a lot of Northerners do miss the seasons though. A lot of people want to get away from the cold, but they don't want to get away from all of it. They don't want to get away from the fall. So a lot of people end up in the Carolinas, specifically Charlotte, because we do still get all of the 4 seasons and it really is a nice change of pace for people. The hurricane fatigue is real here. I think a lot of people that don't experience hurricanes don't really know what to expect or see the severity of it, I guess, until they experience it or until they feel at least some sort of the impact for it. So especially if you're on the Gulf Coast, you get hit a lot more. This Fort Lauderdale coast doesn't get it too much, but insurance is crazy here. You've got to have hurricane insurance, you've got to have flood insurance, that's on top of your homeowner's insurance, and that's if your insurance company will even insure you. A lot of people right now, after the 2 recent storms, Florida are having a really hard time getting coverage on their homes. So that's also a huge expense. Insurance down here is insane. It's a lot of the reasons why people move. New York, they move because of their property taxes are so expensive. Florida, their property taxes aren't that high, but their insurance cost is really, really high. So they end up somewhere in the middle, like Charlotte, where your property insurance your homeowner's insurance is affordable. We don't have to have any crazy insurances on our policies. So overall, Florida oftentimes isn't what people expect it to be. You miss the local feel, which in Charlotte, again, you get. It's not as grandiose as it might be in Chicago or New York or other states, but you do still get those local restaurants and coffee shops and bars that you might be wanting. And the last item is the people. Because Florida is such a landing spot for retirees, the average age, of course, is above 65 here. So if you're a young professional looking and you're not looking to live inside Tampa, it can be really hard to kind of find your group. A lot of people move here for job opportunities and then find themselves wanting to start a family and looking to relocate because they don't have that support system here. I myself even noticed it when I moved to Charlotte. I think people are so much more friendly. While Florida is in the South, I don't think that they have that Southern hospitality feel to it. So I find that it's really easy to find your community and your group of people, no matter what stage of life you're in Charlotte, North Carolina is a big difference. So overall, Florida's great to vacation and some people love it. Like I loved parts of living down here. Obviously I miss the beach like crazy, but it's not always what you it is. And a lot of people, while it is growing, again, 1,200 people are moving to Florida every single day. That comes with a lot of frustrations of the affordability, the traffic. Oh my gosh, the traffic is terrible down here. It used to be just in season. It was going to be awful. Now it seems to be like all the time. Beach access. Again, you don't go to the beach as much as you think you do when you live down here because you still have to function. And then you get really tired of fighting everybody else that's vacationing down here to get to the beach. It can be expensive. You've got the harsh weather, the extreme weather. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're considering moving to Florida. Let me know if you've moved out of Florida. And if you want kind of somewhere in between, if you're looking for that local community, affordable options, good weather, kind of, it has it all. Definitely check out Charlotte, North Carolina. I highly recommend it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or your thoughts.